Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Saturday night with me here, Peter Driver, at Pescari Fly. We're down here in Kilkenny, Thomastown. Hello to everybody. Dave O'Donovan, Jamie Conway, Graham Walsh is on there with us as well. Roger Fowler, Declan Smith. I hope you're keeping well up in Dundalk. Jacob, sorry, Jacob. Lake flies. There is a fly here that can be fished in lakes. Jacob, bit of a mix up for everything tonight. Claude from British Columbia, I hope you're keeping well, Claude, Liam Long, Darius, James Hope, and Ricky Croak. I hope everybody's keeping well. Kieran Sherlock and Patrick Smith, Brennan Splan. So good to have everyone back on with us. Sea trout flies tonight, folks. Bit of a mix from everyone there. How you doing, Bernard? Sorker's on there as well. Kane, how you doing, Kane? Bit of a mix tonight. We've got an interesting section of flies tonight, all based around sea trout. And of course, as you can see, I changed that blue colour to a grey. I hope everyone can see the picture okay. Thanks, Donald. How you doing, Niall? John Keller's on there as well. Hope you're keeping well, John. And Peter Wadding is on there. It's changed to grey. Hope everyone can see it. I think it actually stands out a bit better, maybe. But just some of the flies we're doing tonight has a lot of blue in them and stuff. So I think it actually might be better and mightn't be as bad in the eyes. Let me know what you think. Unlucky Ireland. Unlucky. Good match. Good match. Well played. Better second half performance. How you doing, Martin? Thanks a million. We had a great weekend off last weekend. Watched a bit of rugby, had a couple of pints, a bit of a sore head on Sunday, but it was enjoyable. Yeah, so a bit of a disappointing end to the match, really. I felt they had their chance. They had a bit of a chance there, maybe a half chance. But anyway, look, well done, France. But I hope everyone's keeping well. Thanks a million, Billy, for that. Looking forward to seeing it. Hope you're keeping well. So tonight, sea trout night. We got 4 lovely flies here for you. We got a guest fly tyer. Michael Curry from Ballymena in County Antrim kindly sent us a video today of one of his favourite sea trout patterns. Michael has a great YouTube channel there. He ties a lot of salmon flies, sea trout flies, and other stuff up there in Ballymena and Antrim. Make sure and check out his YouTube channel. Michael Curry Fly Fishing. He's on Facebook as well. Thanks a million for that, Michael. Really looking forward to showing that to you later on. I got 4 other great flies that have been tried and tested over the years. We got a couple of a nice little spider pattern. We got a tandem. We got a nymph that's caught me quite a lot of sea trout in more recent years. And we got a classic wet fly that has caught me fish since I was a young lad fishing some of the Wexford and Wicklow rivers. Dave is along with his trivia question. Got a great prize tonight for our trivia winners. The winners of tonight's trivia will get a free day salmon fishing on the Blackwater with Jason Corcoran for 2 persons. Okay, fantastic prize. Thanks a million to Jason Corcoran down there from the Blackwater, giving up that prize for tonight. So stay tuned for that one. Dave will be along with that one trivia quiz there in a little while. I see with Michael Curry on with us. What else have we got tonight, folks? Don't forget to hit that share button if you share the stream. How you doing, John O'Riordan? Alan's on there. Thanks, Kieran. If you hit that share button and share the stream, you're in tonight to win tonight's flies and a few flies I was tying in practice as well. How you doing, Dick Croak? Michael Callaghan's on there. So hit that share button, share the stream, and we'll get cracking. Okay, so if you're from Wicklow and Wexford and you're into any or done any sea trout fishing, there's one fly you could not miss. You have to have it in the box. And if I didn't do it tonight, it is James. It's a great prize. How you doing, Jean-Luc and Dermot on there as well. There's one fly you just have to have in the box. This has caught so many sea trout in East Coast rivers. When I was growing up, I've tied thousands of these things. Simple spider pattern, kill devil spider. If Graham Reggie Reynolds is on there, he'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyone that's on there, he is there. See you, Graham. Hope you're on there well. The kill devil spider, you can't beat it. Absolutely one of the best sea trout point flies I've ever had. Fantastic little fly, and we're going to tie that on a size 12 Camazon B175. Okay, so I got a bit of black tying silk here. I just sorted out a bit of black tying silk here, and I'm just going to start off. And it's lovely. Kill Devil. No, Kill Devil's a great little fly for, how you doing, Kevin? The Kill Devil, how you doing there, Wayne? The Kill Devil Spider, yep, absolutely, Dave. Great prize from Jason there again. Jason down the Blackwater runs a great old show down there. Lovely B&B and love some lovely fishing down there. And fair play to him for giving up that one. Now, for the tail of this one, it is Dark Furnace. Okay, so we got James, whatever I'm using. Look at if I'm wet fly fishing for sea trout, I'd probably be on a 10-foot 5 weight. Back in the day, it would have been a 9-foot 5 weight, probably, or 9-foot 6 weight. Absolutely, Peter, excellent fly to Kill Devil. So it all depends on fishing with. If I'm nymphing for them, we'll talk a bit about tactics as we go through the night. So this is a Kill Devil spider, would be fished on the point. Say Dark Furnace, cock Dark Furnace for the tail. Would be fished on the point of a team of flies, and But very effective for brown trout as well, folks. It's not just a standout sea trout pattern. So I like using a fine silver rib for this one. And then I'm going to use a bit of pearl mylar here. Dual-sided pearl mylar. We want the silver exposed on this occasion. So the bottom third of this spider is silver. Tying all them up along the majority of that hook. Create a nice even. Now there's a lot of sea trout flies out there. If any is, I've read most of Hugh Falk stuff. Any fans of sea trout fishing, say our traditional style of sea trout fishing. How you doing, Jim Myler? Good to have you on there, John Ditch. How you doing? You know, there's an abundance of stuff out there that can catch trout or catch sea trout. Given you're fishing them correctly and fishing them in the right time at the right rivers. The majority of flies are designed to represent what the sea trout feed at on sea. Okay, so the majority of them would represent small fry and stuff like that. And once you're kind of going down that sort of silvery blue look, you're going to have a chance at getting something. So that's why a lot of the sea trout flies tend to be, they have a very particular trait about them. They're long, skinny in the body, majority of them, blue, silvery kind of look about them. The Alexander, the teal blue and silver, a lot of those flies and other flies they're very similar characteristics to them now. So here I'm going to put in some peacock herl. I got 3 strands of peacock herl for this one. You can go 2 or 3, whichever you prefer. I normally tie in 3 because at least if one breaks away, I can continue on with the fly. If I'm using 2 and 1 breaks away, I probably won't be able to. Just going to wind them up along towards the eye of that. Anybody's got any questions or anything, by all means do shout them across. I'll try to get to them. No, sorry, Peter. How you doing, Betty? He might have took a wrong turn somewhere, Pete. Keep her out the window anyway. Take our little bit of silver wire then, and we're going to just rib up that entire fly over the silver back on it. Up into our peacock herl, give it a nice bit of strength. If I was doing that in a size 10, I'd probably use a larger silver wire, but I like that finer silver wire for size 12 or smaller, of course. These can go right down to be effective in 14s and 16s as well, depending on where you're fishing. Of course, don't forget, if you're fishing for sea trout in Ireland, you need a state license. Is required here in Ireland. For the hackle, again, we're going to put in a little bit dark furnace. That's a dark furnace Indian Cape right there. Lovely capes there we have, and we got them in recently actually, and they're absolutely fantastic. A whole selection of those Indian capes. They're handy little capes for doing these small little river spiders. So it's a cock on this one. A cock. Jason's actually just sent me a message there and it's blocking half my screen. Thank you, Jason. So going to take that hackle with hackle pliers, and it's going to form 3 to 4 turns, 4.5 nearly at that stage, up along there. And as I bring the thread up through that, I'm just going to wiggle it through, bring it up to the head. And when I was a young lad growing up and I was doing a bit of sea trout fishing, a lot of it would have been done, not so much on my home river in the Avonmore, even though kind of as I got a bit older, we started discovering that there was decent sea trout in the Avonmore. Most of it was done on the Enneroily, the Potters River, great little rivers that run at that end of the sea there along Briss Bay, the sort of South Wicklow coast heading down to Arklow, the Courtown, the Castletown River, and then on down into the Unavara. Probably the Unavara River was one of my favourite rivers, and probably where we done best of all over the years. I remember quite well most Saturday nights during the season when the sea trout were running, that myself and Dad and a few of the uncles and cousins and friends would head off down to Unavara, leave home at maybe 10 o'clock on a Saturday night on a summer's evening, head on down, drive through Arklow and go fish to Unavara. You'd be coming back through Arklow in daylight. Everyone would be going out when you're driving through Arklow, and everyone would be going home when you're coming home, all the party goers. But great memories of going down there and sitting in great memories of going down there, sitting down on that riverbank and just finding your spot just on the edge of dark. What we do is the river was a bit smaller, so we fish single fly, and be across. How you doing, Peter? So it's facing kind of slightly back a little bit, Kevin. The hackle itself would face the inside of the hackle would face back towards the hook. But you'd pick your spot, and of course you were never allowed to talk. Once the dark fell and you start fishing, you didn't say a word. They can be a spooky fish at nature, and you didn't talk, and you'd throw a cast to the far bank. It was very short, like, but very overhanging. But you wanted to get your fly right to the bank. If you didn't get it right to the bank, you could be missing fish or not getting to the fish. So what we would do is we would throw one cast at the start of the session just before dark comes, and once you got it as close as you can to the bank of that river, you tie a little knot on your fly line. So then when it comes dark and you're casting, you'll be staying in that same spot. We wouldn't move. We'd be in that spot for the whole night. You just throw a couple of casts and stop maybe for a while. Throw a couple of casts, stop till you meet a fish. The fish would be coming through. Like, we'd be just so close to the tide. And, you'd keep the knot in the hand and it'd never slip anymore. So you'd never get caught in the far bank as long as you keep casting in the right direction or didn't change the spot. So that's how we used to do it. And you would sit there all night. Most nights you'd get a fish or you'd meet a couple of fish or, and some nights didn't, but it was always an entertaining night. I always enjoyed it down there, just sitting in the black dark. No, we wouldn't have any lights or something. Yeah, you have a light, but you wouldn't turn it on unless it was absolutely necessary. A little bit of varnish on that Kill Devil spider, just a little bit of vineyards. Cellular varnish there, just to seal it. It's a very simple little sea trout fly, absolutely lethal. Anyone on the east coast of Ireland, and I'm sure plenty of other. So, Kieran, good question. Why is the blue? Well, definitely for sea trout. Just back to the point of what I was saying, that a lot of the sea trout flies is a representation of a food they would be feeding at sea. So once they come into the rivers, because they feed obviously majority at sea for most of the year, and when they come up the rivers, then that's what's most recognizable to them for food. Is the saltwater style looking fly. So that's where you've got your teal blues and silvers, your blue zulus, all those kind of stuff. You'll even see the tandem we do tonight, the wet fly we do tonight, and the fly that Michael Curry sent us on, that it's all related around those kind of fry patterns, those saltwater fry patterns. That's why a lot of blue is used there for sea trout. So there we go. Lovely little Kill Devil spider, as you can see. Great little fly, simple, very effective for brown trout as well. If you're some of the variations I've seen that tied with a blue hackle as well. Peter Riley mentions in his book that it can be quite popular with some of the Wexford anglers that they put a little blue hackle in there. We've always kind of stuck to the original tying dressing, which is the dark furnace. Lovely fly, really fantastic spider. Tied with absolutely, yeah. Tom Ankertel is there. It's a great fly on the field as well. Thanks for that, Tom. So they don't have to be all big flashy flies. Spiders like that can work quite well for sea trout as well. Well worth a swim now if anyone's targeting a sea trout this year. I know here in the north we do get a few sea trout that come up in we do get a few sea trout that come up. I'm going to just chat away while I'm getting this ready for this next thing. We do get a few sea trout coming up here, and in end of June, July, you can get some sea trout coming up into the lower beats, Thomas, down into Inishtig, and it can be a bit of fun. You go down and you can get them. I find that the wet fly fishing is a little bit, yeah, absolutely, Dave. Kingsman Moore tested the colours for sea trout. His go-to were blues and claret. Claret's another great colour for sea trout, especially on the locks. But Kingsmill Moore was very, the Nor. I don't really fish for the sea trout, target the sea trout as such on the Nor. I haven't really gone after them. If I'm out brown trout fishing and you come across sea trout, it's a nice surprise. But I find dry fly or dry dropper and nymphing to be a little bit more effective on. We're going to talk about that after Michael's fly, because afterwards we're going to do a nymph and stuff like that. So I'm not going to talk too much about nymph for sea trout at the moment, but we're kind of back, still on the traditional stuff. We'll have a chat about that later on. So what I got here is a size 16. This is a tandem, okay? So this basically has two hooks. And what we used to notice after dark, and again, most sea trout fly tyers recognize this, you can get an awful lot of little plucks. So as that fly is swimming, the sea trout will fall around. You just pluck, and then sometimes they'll lock on. Okay, so a very good patterns to tie in, very popular sea trout flies would be to put in tandems, which is a smaller hook that's buried up in the wing of the larger fly, and when they're tap, you have a better chance of hooking them. Okay, so this is a tandem. Haven't fished a tandem in a good few years. Used to fish it quite a bit on our home rivers, and lovely little fly to tie. Not very complicated. So here I got a bit of 0.14 monofilament. Okay, and in order to complete our tandem, we have to tie this in. Okay, so secured in, I tie it on top in the middle, and it's secured the full length of the hook. Very similar to the way we tie, if anybody watched our show on tying in tying a snake. Okay, tie it down, then lap over one section, tie it back up. Okay, and that's not going to come loose. So it's tied back in on itself quite securely, and that's going to be quite strong there. Okay, for the tail of this, a little small tail on here, we got a little bit of red wool. Okay, a little bit of red wool. Now, again, you'll see in some of my other sea trout flies, and the next fly, or the wet fly that I'll do later on, which is probably one of my best sea trout wet flies. I use an awful lot of wool because I like the way the wool puffs up more than, say, a bit of glow bright or something like that. How you doing, Robbie? I hope you're keeping well. I like the way the wool puffs up a little bit once it gets wet, and it's a lovely soft rather than glow bright. So I just kind of untwist that a little bit in my fingers to get it to a little bit straighter. Okay, and we'll just tie that in there now for a second. And take away our waste. And we're going back to our fine silver wire. If I can find it. There we go. Hope everyone's had a good week. Hope you all didn't miss us too much last Saturday. It was nice to have a Saturday night. Only 5 shows left to go, folks. We're getting near the end of it. Patrick's Day is coming. And hope you have all really enjoyed this year's sessions. I know it certainly has helped me a lot to get through the winter. And love coming on here and looking forward to the Saturday nights to have an old natter and a chat. Back to our pearl or jewel mylar, and again we're going to just make this little fly a silver body. Just take your time, making sure that tail stays in place. A little bit awkward with that bit of monofilament sticking out of the head, but it's okay. We'll sort that in a minute. Little silver body on that. It's going to be buried up in the wing. You could even probably get away with not even tying it onto this, but you could just attach your monofilament and then move on. But I like the kind of the color of the body to come down into the tandem. And you'll see a lot of tandems that are tied with tribbles as well. It's open for salmon, James, not for trout. Hello, Alison. Alison's on there from South Africa. Owen Hegarty's on there as well from Owen from Cork. So just a little bit of wire to give that a little bit of strength. A couple of turns up at the head. Using Kevlar on this one, folks. That's a B175 size 16 as well. We'll finish that off. Just make sure you don't trap in that bit of monofilament. Good tight pull. And snip away. Now we'll just tidy up that little tail a bit. Small little tail. Don't want much on it. Just a little hot tag. Just to give a little bit of good question, Jamie. I wouldn't be educated enough to really answer that correctly. Does the colour of the hook matter? I suppose that sometimes it does. I've got some dry flies, and I tie some flies for people, Jamie, that they want black hooks or they want gold hooks or whatever it may be. Me personally, doesn't bother me at all, really. So it doesn't bother me at all. Some people do have preference. I do get some requests that, would you tie that in a size, or, would you tie that in a gold hook for me, or see some salmon anglers do like a particular type of hook. Me personally, I'm not as much, doesn't bother me quite that much. Next hook here we're going to put in the vise is a Camazan B175 size 10. We're going to tie that in there. And we're going to switch over to a little bit of black thread. I've actually just pulled the fly out now in front of me. One that I've tied. Don't forget you can win these flies, folks, and the other flies I tied beforehand if you share the stream or make a comment there. So hit that share button. So just securing in my black thread well. Now we're going to take our little tandem. There's this small little guy here. And we're going to mount it in. Okay, now we want it sitting up so that when it's tied in, it's sitting up the back, as you can see, upside down. Okay. So Kevin, what size silver wire are you using tonight? So on the last couple there, Kevin, that was 0.10 Sabaya. And we'll be using that, and we'll be using 0.2 as well. Okay, for the silver wire. So we want that, as you can see the way the tandem is sitting there now, we want that, depending on the length of your wing, depending on the length you want it, that's the way we're going to mount that in. Okay, so get it in roughly the length of where you want it to be first, how far back off the main hook you want it to be, and get a couple of turns in there up on top to secure it into place for a moment. Holding the hook, I'll bring my thread down and making sure that's trapped exactly on top of that hook to keep it in place, as you can see. Okay, a little bit to the side, bit of a twist, get another turn on it. Now we take these other two sections and we push them through the eye of the hook. It's a size 10, so there'll be plenty of room there for your tip it afterwards and secured in. And that's basically, if a sea trout gets hooked on that tandem, it's not going to pull it out through. Okay, snip off your waist, it's well secured in, and bring your thread back down. Now we're going to take a little bit of heavier silver wire for this one. Excuse me. So I'm going now to the heavier silver wire, if I can find it here in a second, folks. There we go. Hi, Lane. Lane Munzan with us there. Hope you're keeping well. Great news about the show, Lane. Everyone saw that the show is going ahead in Galway, coming in November. Bit of work ahead of you, Elaine, but great to hear it's back on. Of course, don't forget we have the Adair Springs, the Irish Springs Angling Fair coming up in Maybank Holiday weekend, which is going to be a great weekend. Great to see everyone and meet up with everyone. Don't forget to check it out online, www.irishspringanglingfair.com. Now, so what we're going to do here is use our silver body again. So it's a continuation on that tandem. And again, as I'm tying down and just getting ready to prepare that body, I'm holding the tandem in place as well. I want to try and keep it as best I can. And that hook is pointing up. I then take me pearl. A little bit of a jump on that thread now, but I think I might be able to. We're having to go back. Form our lovely silver body up on. Taking your time, there's no rush. If a turn slips or two, all you got to do is just unwind it 1 or 2 turns and go back. It's worth doing. Hands are a bit slippery tonight. I put on some hand cream. A little bit slippery, keeping that tension on that. Tied in well, secured in well. Take your wire in the opposite direction then. Add in that bit of reinforcement. And of course, you know, it varies. If anybody's has aspirations of getting into some wet fly sea trout fishing, you know, it varies on the different, say, you know, some rivers. I remember, I'm not sure if it's still the same. I'm not sure if it's still the same, but I remember fishing the Unavara as a young lad growing up, and you know, your best chance of getting fish was just before the dark, literally on the edge of dark. But once it went dark, you know, it was very difficult to catch fish. I'm not sure if there's any an escort or if anyone there can tell me that has changed since then. But like we used to, you know, we would have went home kind of once the dark really came, you know, give it half an hour into the dark, and then that was kind of it. It was game over. On the Unavara, it was different. You know, on some of those other rivers that along the east coast, it was different as well. You know, the different times. And there was other rivers I fished over the years where, you know, if you fished on the edge dark, you'd get a lot of, you know, sea trout attacking that fly. But if you fish on the edge of daylight on the other side of the night, a lot of those fish, when they attack, you know, they'd attack it much more aggressively, and you pick up most of those. So if you fished it at dusk, you might meet 10 fish and get 2. If you fish it at dawn, on the other side of the night, the dark, you know, you'd meet 10 fish and get 8. So, you know, having a bit of knowledge there about the fishery or where you're fishing and what's the best times, the best runs for sea trout, when will you best take the fly, whatever, will help you. And of course, every river has them at different times. Peter Ross is a very good fly as well, Sorker. Okay, so for the wing of this one, we're going to use some peacock swords. If I can find some here somewhere. I definitely brought some up. Somewhere. Oh, found it. I thought it was going to have to disappear there now for a minute. It's just stuck on the side of a tray here. So, peacock swords. Going to select about 8 to 10 of those. As you can see, that's our peacock sword. Yeah, and it always was, Wayne. The Unavara was always a great river fish at night. Um, so we're going to tie this back the length or a tandem. Okay. So basically, what's happening is that little tandem, this wing is going to cloak that tandem. Keep it on top, like so. Take away your waist. We're going to put a little strip either side, very similar to the Alexandra. But this is actually Hen's holographic. Turn that side, give it a little tug, and a little bit longer. Now turn on that side, and just get them up on the side of the wing. Trim them off, no longer than the wing really. Okay, next thing we're going to put on a little bit of a hackle here. Now, this hackle is not something I use that often. Many years ago, I was given this, and I still have it today, and it is a kingfisher skin. Okay, kingfisher skin, lovely, unusual blue hackle on it. Nothing out there to substitute it. For this particular fly, I'll use a little bit of this. I don't use it much, but I'll take off one of the kind of what part would it be? I suppose it is the back feather, I suppose, for the want of a better description. Take off one of these. So the hackles are quite long, very similar to, very similar looking feather, not in colour obviously, but in texture and length as the golden pheasants that we use on our very soft feather, very soft, beautiful colours. You know, absolutely beautiful on a fly. And now you can use a substitute. You can use a grizzle or a hen here if you want, whichever you prefer, whichever you got hand. But just this, the original pattern that I tied this many years ago was it had the kingfisher on it, and all I'm doing is just catching the very point in my hackle pliers and just exposing back that core. Expose back as much as you can. The lighting up here is not as good as it would be downstairs. Do it. There we go. So expose as much of that as I can and tie it in like so. Now say it's a very soft feather, folks. So if you are going to look at, I don't know where you'd even pick one up these days. It was a Belgian man gave that to me many years ago. So as I'm tying with it, I'm going to stroke back those feathers quite gently. It's not the sort of feather you want to waste a lot of. So I do take my time with this, making sure I get that blue exposed as best I can. One turn going in front of the other the whole way down the eye. Get your thread up, secure in that, take away your hackle pliers, and then just sort it out. Another one or two turns secured in, hold back that stem, secure that back in along as well, just to give it that extra bit of security and strength. Lovely. Can't really get that look on the thanks, Colin. Colin has just put up some. Thanks, Paul. Colin has just put up a very interesting kind of comment there. So really lovely look off that. Not sure if you can get that lovely natural kind of kingfisher blue off of that. It is an absolute peach with the red going back and that. Two little small slim jungle cock eyes here. Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Peter. Peter Connell's on there. Now I use split jungle cock for this one. I don't want a big massive jungle cock. I just I want to keep the whole thing as slim as possible. So this is a nice opportunity to use splits. And now, look, I know an awful lot of people, myself included, we've no choice but to use splits these days. Jungle cock is becoming so hard to get. But I go for a split jungle cock, one either side. And when I'm splitting a jungle cock and tying it in, I tend to tie the split section up near the hook and leave the natural curvature of that feather down below. Trying to keep that head under a bit of control here. It's literally half a turn, half a turn. Sometimes things can fall out, fall down. That's okay. We just pick them up and do them again. Till you secure both those jungle cocks in. I give them another turn. I keep a bit of pressure on that tray just to hold them in place themselves till I just take away the waste. Still keeping a bit of pressure on that thread, just to hold everything in place till I get my whip finished. And of course, there's a bit of wire tangled in it. Get rid of it. Starting at the head, and I'll actually build the head with the whip finish. Again, just trying to keep the head under control. Absolutely beautiful fly. Lovely, lovely looking fly. That kingfisher blue, it's very subtle, but absolutely gorgeous. I can see why it's that fly has caught a lot of fish from me over the years. A little bit of varnish on that. There we go. Fabulous little fly. Thanks, Declan. Fabulous fly there. Don't know any particular name on it. You see a lot of tandems done very similarly. Now with a little bit of a twist on that. The hook is sitting up well, so it'll come up into that. When that gets wet and it's all down, that's basically where your little tandem will sit, up into that hackle or into that wing. And thanks, guys. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Kieran. Up into that wing, and the idea is that when the trout, especially at night, when they're pluck, 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 that that tandem is going to do it for you. Hugh Fox does reference that in his books quite a bit. The nighttime lures, and that's it there. Try to get a decent kind of focusing on that blue, but lovely fly, really nice. One side of that little yolks are sticking out there. I'll actually just tidy it up a little bit, and I'll get a good photograph there for you tomorrow and put it up on social media. But really, really lovely fly. Gonna throw that one there into the tub as well, and those two, because there's another one there from earlier on. Those two flies will go out to whoever's going to win the draw on probably Wednesdays, when I normally get to do it, of people that share the stream and comment. So do hit that share button if you want to win these sea trout flies. I'm going to take a little break now, folks. Dave is going to be along in a little while with his trivia. Great prize tonight. A day's fishing for 2 anglers on the Blackwater with Jason Corcoran down there, and for salmon or trout if you wish. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Peter. Yes, absolutely. It's very like Hugh Fox, sunk lure. Thanks, Den School, and that's one of the Hugh Fox. I have most of his books. That's one of them. Lovely read. If you're interested in sea trout fishing, lovely, lovely read. There's also some other great publications out there. And don't forget, there's going to be some sea trout experts coming to the show in Adair Springs. Stefan Jones is going to be there as well, doing some tying and talking. So make sure you check it out. But that's a really good book if you picked up. I think I picked it up in a secondhand store, quite reasonable. So you can pick them up. There's a lot of good kind of classical references and that and stuff, some patterns and stuff too. So there we have, folks. I'm going to hand you over to the very trustworthy hands of Mr. Michael Curry. Michael did a fantastic video here for us. Trying to see where my cursor's gone now to move it across here to do a bit of clicking. But Michael agreed to send us on one of his videos. Michael's a great fly here from Ballymeen and Antrim there. He's a great YouTube channel. Don't forget to check it out. Michael Curry Fly Fishing. Ties a lot of salmon flies, sea trout flies and that kind of stuff. So if you're looking for that kind of stuff, do give him a shout. But he sent us on one of his sea trout flies. Lovely tie-in, really nice tie-in. Had the pleasure of watching it earlier on. Going to look forward to watching it again second time around. So sit back, enjoy this one. I'll be back along in a few minutes with 2 more great patterns, and we're going to do a little bit of nymphing after the break. So enjoy this one, and I shall see you all in a few moments.
Here's it going. Today we're going to be tying a silver doctor variant. The hook I have in the vise is a Vineyard Osprey Scandinavian salmon double. size 10, and it's a silver. And the thread I'm going to be using at the start is Unithread in white 80. We'll just get this light moved a wee bit. There we go. So we catch on just behind the eye, lay a nice layer of thread, nice touch and turns all the way down the shank. And you want to be stopping this sort of just between the point and the barb. A wee bit more. Trim off our waist. Now for our tag, we're going to be using some silver oval, small. Threw away the spool, this is the last wee bit I have. We'll catch it in on the near side. A few wraps just to hold it in place. And then looking for 4 or 5 turns, still moving down the shank towards the bend of the hooks. Now if you take it down to where the 2 hooks start to splay, you can bring it over the first hook, in between the 2 hooks, and catch it in on the underside. Just trim that off. A few turns just to secure everything in. Now we're going to have another butt in this fly as well. It's globe right number, if I can get this held right, globe right number 4. So we'll just catch that in, turn the thread over it and then pull it down to shorten the tag. A few turns to get it to hold in place, and then nice tight wraps, making sure there's none of the white under thread showing through. I prefer to do it whenever the thread's in the floss is in the bobbin holder, but you don't need to. You can cut a strand off it and just tie it in by hand if you want. With bigger flies you maybe need to double the floss over. So once you've got about 2 or 3 mil of a butt tied on, a couple of turns of thread and trim off your floss. For the tail of the fly, I'm going to be using some golden pheasant crest. So just pluck off the feather with a nice curve. Pull off any fluff here that's not really needed. There we go. Take the feather and lay it across the top of the hook. 3 or 4 turns. Pull it down into the length you want. That's not too bad there. There we go. And then tighten up with a few more turns. Trim off the waist. For the rib, in this fly I'm going to be using silver oval again. So we'll catch some of that in along the back of the hook, and we'll just bring it down again. Nice tight touch and turns, trying to keep the body as even and smooth as possible. So for our body, have some silver holographic wide. The length here I've already cut off. So take the edge and bevel bevel the end of it, catch it in, and bring my thread back up. Again, nice touch and turns if you can, trying to keep your body as smooth and as uniform as possible. That'll help when you bring your body up, your silver tinsel, because it's quite slippy, and if there's any lumps and bumps it slides about a bit. So we bring our body up, overlap and turns, just to about 4 mil away from the eye, catch it in, and then with our scissors just nick an end of it and peel the rest off. And now we bring a rib up, nice even open turns. You're aiming for 4 or 5. If you've an extra one, it wouldn't really matter too much. Again, a few turns, secure it in place, trim it off, and then tighten it down. So for our throat haggle, we're going to be using some blue hen. You just want to find a feather with a fibre length that's going nearly to the points of the hooks. Let's see what this one's like. We'll try it for size first. Aye, should do. So we offer up our tip, tie it in, and you can either fold the tip back and break it off, or just snip it off. I prefer cutting it, just gives you less turns of thread, especially for the small flies. It can help keep the bulk down a bit. So in our haggle pliers we take our feather and 1.5 turns. They're only wee feathers, so you're not going to get too many turns, but 1.5 2 turns should be plenty. Trim off our stalk. So with our thumb and our forefinger, just fold everything back. A few turns. Just try and persuade the haggles to lie down a bit. There we go. Now we're going to have an underwing in this fly. And for the underwing I'll be using some golden pheasant topping, dyed hot orange. So just pull off the feather, and any of the bits that aren't just as well marked, peel them off, just leaving the good stuff. So just separate probably about 7 mil wide and break it off. And keep your tips nice and straight, and then hold them over the back of the hook, roughly whatever length you want them. I like them sort of going, touching where the tag is. Pinch them with your other hand. A few turns of thread. See how it's sitting. It's not too bad there. Happy enough for that. trim off our excess. So at this point I'm going to whip off with my white thread, because I want to finish this fly with a bright thread for the head. So 4 or 5 turn whip finish, cut that thread off, and then for the head I'm going to be using some of this. This is new stuff I've been using. It's SSS thread from Michael Froden. And we'll whip on. There. Trim off our thread. And for the overwing we're going to be using some bronze mallard. So I have a feather here that I've picked out. It's a nice size, it's got some nice bronze tips in it. And what you do is, or what I do, it's maybe not the way everybody does it. I don't really think there's a right way or a wrong way for this. I peel off about 4 times what I want the depth of my wing to be. So that's maybe a wee bit much there. So let another couple of fibres out and tear it off. And I take the first side. Don't know how good this is going to look on the camera, but I fold the first quarter in, and then on the bottom side the wing's just starting to break there, so we'll give it a few, just give it a bit of a stroke and the fibres should come back into place, and then fold the bottom side, the bottom quarter in. Just gives you a wing like that, and then that's the underside of it there, where it's had about a quarter folded in each side. There, we'll just pull that out, and then make sure your tips are reasonably well lined up. I like to take the feather, hold it over the back of the hook, pinch it down, a couple of reasonably loose turns just to see how my wing's lying. That's not too bad there. Sort of. These flies can be a wee bit awkward, especially you can end up getting it the side that you're looking at you're happy enough with, but when you finish the fly and look at the other side you're not happy with the back of the fly, whereas I suppose today I've got the benefit of the camera there. I can see, I can check the back of my fly on the screen. So if you're happy enough with your wing, just trim it off. A pair of very sharp scissors will benefit you there. If your scissors aren't sharp, you just end up pushing the wing about. You can, the shape of it will just, it'll fall apart. And then with my thread, just build the head up. And whip finish. Coat of varnish on the and there we have a wee variant of the Silver Doctor. There have been a couple of boys who have been asking me about bronze mallard wings and stuff, so I hope that's helpful for you boys. Thanks for watching, and I hope you are all Still subscribing away.
There we have it, folks. Beautiful fly there by Michael Curry. Absolutely fantastic flight there. Lovely and neat, as Dave Donovan says. Neat as a nut. Neat as a nut. Beautiful time by Michael. So don't forget to check out Michael's YouTube channel there. He's up in Ballymena and Antrim. Ties some fabulous stuff. Well done, Michael, and thanks a million for sharing. Great to have another great guest on with us. All the guests we have on here, fair play to all. I won't mention it on now. On the final show in a couple of weeks, we'll recap on them all. So we're going to move on. We're going to move on to a nymph. Okay, so I remember the first time I really caught sea trout on the nymph was actually back in 2000. Fishing the Galway Weir with an Irish team, getting match fit for the World Finals in Sweden, Lapland, Sweden, massive rivers up there. And Joe Triller, captain, brought us over to the Galway Weir to do some nymphing. Nymphing was that popular back then, and we were there to do a bit of nymphing anyway with Gwilym Henry Hughes from Wales, who was our coach at the time, and we needed to practice in heavy water, so we were brought to the Galway Weir, where it can be heavy, and I think they opened an extra gate or two for us, and we went in there and we nymphed for an evening, and the sea trout we caught that night on the nymphs was phenomenal, including the brown trout. That was the first real experience. But moving on a couple of years, a bit more experienced. Myself and Albert Mulhall, we used to do a lot of nymphing, and we used to target the sea trout during the day with the nymphs on the Univara and places like that. Very good, James. Yeah. But we used to target the sea trout during the day and realize we can catch them during the day if we know where they're lying. Be very careful and cautious in our approach, and you can be quite effective, and it was quite productive time when we were really at them. Nowadays, I don't really target them as such. I do come across sea trout every year on the Nor nymphing. I find actually the dry, you can often nymph a spot, go through a spot looking for your brownies, nymph it quite well, get no sea trout, and then when you turn around and go on the dry dropper, you can pick up 5 or 6 in the same spot you're nymphing. They tend to, Dave is on there, folks. Competitions come up soon. Don't forget you can win a day pass for 2 anglers to the Blackwater trout and salmon fishery down in Jason Corcoran's in Cork. Or Waterford, as he would say. Is it Cork? Waterford, Jason? But they're on the border anyway. But we really start getting more into it, and nymphing can be very effective. And this has probably been my most productive sea trout nymph over the years. Got a lot of fish in it. I can either tie it with a silver bead or a white bead. Okay, if I was dry dropping, it would be a white bead. And I think if I was to go specifically after sea trout on the likes of these bigger rivers like the Nor and stuff like that, I think dry dropping would be my preferred approach for daytime sea trout fishing. And it could be quite productive. Okay, so I got a jig hook size 14 here, and I got a 3.5 mil white bead. You can also use a silver bead on this pattern as well. I'm going to put on a bit of Kevlar thread. I think during the daytime, the key is, and what we've experienced over the years is, thanks, Andrew. What we've experienced over the years is, you really need to know where those fish are sitting during the day. If you know where they're sitting during the day, you can target them, and you can get some fantastic results. So I'm gonna put a little tag on this of holographic hens red tinsel, just securing that in just below the bend of the hook. I'm gonna put a little holographic. Keeping an eye out for David's question there now. I don't know what it's going to be tonight. It will be topic related, of course, I'm sure. But then with Dave, we don't know what he's going to ask. A little bit of a red holographic button there. Take away our waste. And we're going with a little bit of dark cock Leon. Now, if you don't have a dark cock Leon, you can use black pheasant tail here. Or black cockhackles. A little bit of black cock Leon. Secured and well. I normally would super glue that mount that bead up in place, but I left me super glue downstairs. Now we're going to put in a silver rib on this one, and we're going to go with the heavier silver on this. Right, I'll actually just check the pattern here now. I've tied one previously and make sure I'm correct in saying the heavier silver. No, I'm wrong. It's actually the lighter silver we're going for this one. so it doesn't overpower the body. Dave is on there. What is the term used for any fish that is born in freshwater, migrates to saltwater, and returns to freshwater to spawn? What is the term used? Good question, Dave. First correct answer in on the stream wins a day for two on the Blackwater, thanks to Jason Cochran. So Dave will keep an eye there and let me know. Now, for the body of this, no, sorry, I'm wrong. I'm jumping ahead of myself now again. We're going to put in a little back on this one, and it's going to be pearl. Okay, so we've got pearl mylar here, size 14. And going to secure that in there on the top of that hook. Then for the body, we're going to use some heron dyed black. Okay, some black heron. I got it a few years ago and dyed it up. So I got 3 strands of the heron black here. Now, if you don't have black heron, you can use pheasant tail. This is the original tie-in. Now, I'm sure this is not the best sea trout nymph in the world. There are plenty of other nymphs that have caught sea trout, but this is the one kind of over the years that I've had the most confidence in. Bring that thread back down to where you want the body to begin off that holographic butt, and just take your heron. Herl nicely up that body. Mark Curtin, you mean tasty about the fish or tasty about the fly tying? Once I get up near the bead, secure it in a couple of turns, and we'll just pull them together and take away our waist. Then I pull my thorax cover, not thorax cover, my back, up the back of that nymph. Now I'm going to cut away a bit of the waist, but not all of it. Okay, just get some of it out of the way, so it's not going to be interfering with the next couple of stages of the fly. Take my rib and come nicely up the body of that nymph. You can see there we got our back on it. Just carefully break away that. Take that piece of waist that you left hanging out and then fold it back over the fly for the moment. A little bit of thorax going here is muskrat dubbing. I love using muskrat dubbing, lovely natural grey. Dubbing very, very soft. I use them in a lot of nymphs, especially iron blue nymphs and stuff like that for early season nymphing. Very good on dries as well. It has that natural oil in it because the muskrat lives in water, so or near water. A little bit of muskrat. Of course, you can find all these materials, folks, on our website. We have a new website coming Wednesday, I think. Been a challenging couple of weeks trying to get it up and going, but I think we're going to have a brand new website with lots of new exciting products and things, fancy add-ons and stuff like that. None of it I know how to work or do or build, but there's been a few people giving us a handout. So new website coming probably Wednesday. Hopefully next weekend I'll be able to introduce it a bit to you. Watch out for that one. But we've all our usual products and lots of new stuff coming up on the new website. Okay, securing your thorax cover over the top. Take a little pinch of, actually before I do that, I'm going to just give that dubbing just a little brush out with a dumb brush, just to get some of them nice soft fibres to protrude out there for that fly. As you can see, I'm always brushing towards the bead when I'm trying to brush something out, and then just before I finish, I'll just brush it back. Okay, so I'm not putting any pressure on any part of the back fly for the moment. Peter Wadding, lots of correct answers. Dave said he was very impressed, but Peter Wadding is the winner. So congratulations, Peter. You're heading down to Jason Corcoran's. You and your friend, your buddy, are heading down to Jason Corcoran's for a day's free salmon fishing. Well done, Peter. We'll put you in touch with Jason, and we'll get that arranged for the new season for you. I hope you enjoy your day out. Thanks a million to Jason again for a lovely prize, fantastic prize. Little bit of peacock double number 46 going in there. Hens, peacock. We'll finish off that Kevlar. And again, brushing out, as you can see, brush towards the bead, putting no pressure on any other part of the fly, and just as you finish, not giving a massive brush, just enough just to tease that, pull off any loose strands, just to tease that peacock out there. Then I'm just going to put in a little bit of a hot fire orange or a hot red thread, whichever you prefer. This is Tommy Fly number 14. Put that in there. I'll take a little bit of varnish onto that, using my double needle. Normally use a bit of lacquer, but I actually forgot the lacquer, soaks it a little bit better. A little bit of varnish onto that thread before I finish. And just a nice little collar between the bead and the double. Not too overpowering, just nice. And there we have it. If I was going target sea trout on the nymphs, that's what I would be using. Most productive sea trout nymph for me anyway. Also very good for brown trout, don't get me wrong. But that's been the one that I would kind of, if I knew I was going to go down and target sea trout on any particular stretch of water, and I was going to be using the nymphs, well, then that would be the one that I would have most confidence in. So it's the one that's caught me most sea trout over the years. Lovely nymph. And say very good for browns too. Tied with a silver bead also as well. Can be very, very effective. Okay, tied smaller sizes obviously for dry dropper. Also very good nymph for dry dropper is just a very simple black and silver Frenchie or a white beaded heron. Natural heron is very good on the dry dropper. Or I use a perdigon as well, which is just a base of black body, white rib, and a white bead. Very simple coquelicon perdigon can be super, super effective for sea trout on a dry dropper setup. Worth having a go with it as well. Now we're going to move on to our last fly, and one I would have tied. I have these great memories of sitting at home in my bedroom as a young lad, 10, 11, 12 years of age, right up into my teens, sitting on a stool in the corner, and I had a small little three-corner desk in the corner of absolutely, Andrew. Small little three-corner kind of piece of a table I would have made myself and screwed to the wall, and had me fly tying gear, my small little biscuit tin or two, maybe a fly tying gear, and sitting there with Peter Riley's book and trying to tie up patterns. And this was a sea trout fly I would have tied back then, going to the Univara. I'd be so excited, and Dad would say, "Oh, we'll go to Univara Saturday night." And he'd tell me on a Monday or Tuesday, I'd go to school. I'd be just thinking about it all week. Saturday night going fishing Univara, maybe a chance of a big sea trout or something like that. I just love the excitement of going nighttime fishing. I see Graham, Reggie Reynolds there was on as well. Actually, he made a comment during Michael's video about pulling surface stuff across the surface at night, and it is super effective too. Sedges, skating sedges and stuff across the surface can be really effective to get those sea trout's attention, and you can catch a lot of fish that way too. But this is one that I would have tied, developed a little bit over the years and stuff. Very long, similar lines of everything else that we see for sea trout. Your blue and silver, but it's one I want to share with you. And I have this real fond memory of sitting there listening to the radio in my bedroom as a young lad, with my small little box of gear and just tying flies after flies, sea trout flies all week long, getting ready for the Saturday night heading to Univara. You'd be so excited going down. But yeah, great memories. And this is one that I would have tied back then as well. So I'm just getting it out here in front of me now. So I have a good one. Black tying thread on a Camazon B175. All the hooks I would have had back then were B175s. You're very welcome, Peter. You're very welcome. For the tail here, we have a little bit of golden pheasant tippet. Okay. They were great times growing up, and so into the fishing and spending so much time as a young lad on the rivers, learn and just wanting to know more, wanted to, great times, great memories. Great way to have to spend a childhood. This time we're going for the heavier wire. Oh, absolutely, Graham. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can remember one day as a kid going down to I remember one was this just mental sea trout night. This was, but I was a very very young kid going down to the Flesk, the Brown Flesk. Tom Ankertel, if you're on there, you might know the Brown Flesk, just outside Farm 4 in Kerry. And an uncle of mine, he lived very close to that, and we were only kids, myself and a cousin of mine, Kieran Driver, young kids, didn't fly fish at this stage, but we were bait fishing. I think the fathers wanted to get rid of us anyway, so we went out, we dug a bucket of worms, and we were allowed to go down to the Flesk to do a bit of worm fishing. And we went down anyway, and the same night a run of sea trout came up that river, like nothing I've ever experienced since. And it was unbelievable, like the amount of sea trout we got that night was just crazy. But yeah, I remember seeing these massive big fish, and oh, I think romancing memories of them old days. We probably managed to catch two each or something, but like it's just seeing them constantly jumping, pitching, salmon, and a small little brown flesk. What a little river. Myself and Dave went back there for a 100 River Challenge a couple of years back. Nothing like I remember as a kid, but yeah, fantastic memories of those, childhood memories of fishing and brilliant. A little bit of Jewel Mylar there again for the body of this one, folks. Gonna form a silver body. Come up along the touching turns or overlapping turns, should I say. Secured off. Then we're going to go for a little bit of Kingfisher Blue Hackle. So, it's a hackle, obviously the colour of Kingfisher, but you can see by the original Kingfisher, it's a little bit brighter than that. So what I'm using here is the Band Valley hackle packs. Okay, so we've after getting loads of these into the stores. These are super handy if you're just tying a couple of flies, don't want to buy a cape, don't want to dye a half a cape. These hackles, they're all graded. They're all graded, as you can see there. This one's for a size 12 to 8. Okay, so perfect for a size 10. Beautiful colours, great qualities, plenty of hackle there too. We've got loads of them in store. They will be up on the new website. I'm not going to go through the energy and the effort of putting them up on the old website because that'll be coming down on Wednesday. But super, super handy. These are, really say, really good quality. They come in quite good saddle packs as well. I think there's 10 in each saddle pack. So there's lots of time there if you don't want to buy them a big hackle for yourself. Pluck out your hackle, put it back into the pack. You'll do more. Plenty of flies on that one. Now, so I got a blue hackle here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to strip down one side. Okay. I'm going to strip off one side because I want a nice light hackle on this. So I don't want it too bulky or too predominant. Taking off one side. Just exposing the core where I want to start. Taking off the down. I'm just going to secure that in there. Thanks, Graham. Thanks very much. Yeah, it's been a lot of work trying to get it up and going. Look, we're just trying to keep moving forward. Here in Pescari, we're always trying to keep building the business, offering a better service to everyone. It's thanks to all you guys and girls out there too for the support you give us over the years. It's been fantastic, and we appreciate it all so much. So, thank you very much. Take that rib, and then go back up your body, securing the hackle really well. And see, it gives you a lovely, nice light hackle by just using one. Doesn't overpower the silver, but gives that lovely look to that fly. This will be a very good lock fly as well. I've tied it for a few guys over the years, and they've had success in the locks. Once you've secured it in, just give those hackles a light brush back. The only time I really won't brush forward, but I'm not putting any great pressure on that. Just want to get a nice natural kind of angle to those body hackles, as you can see. Lovely body of a fly. Very attractive. Okay, next thing we're going to do then, we've got a little beard on this. Okay, so the beard is again back to the wool. I used a lot of wool in my early sea trout days because it's probably the only material I had. I was working with a very small little biscuit tin of materials. A little bit of red wool. Just clean off the butts. I'm going to just add that in up there as a beard underneath. Get it into place. Clean out our waste. Secured in. Okay, Just looking at the pattern here in front of me. It's been quite I wouldn't say a lot of years. Yeah, they're brilliant, Kieran. They're absolutely brilliant. We got a ton of them now. They're different colours, different sizes. They're all up on the new website, but say won't go live till probably Wednesday. I probably won't get it finished till Wednesday. Wednesday's our deadline, kind of. So we've set that for ourselves to get it over the line. But yeah, they're fantastic. Great, great value for money. Good quality. Plenty in a pack. Um, Saves you dying. A whole lot of stuff. So just lining up my uh, swords, peacock swords again here. Just securing them in on top. There's about 6 there on that. Then I'm going to take a little black hen hackle, and I'm going to put turn of black on the front of that. Hi Darren Fennessy, hope you're keeping well. Little turn of black hen on the front of that fly. 1.5 turns, I'm not looking for too much. Bring the thread back up through the hackle. Take away the waste. And then just hold all those back along. Now there's times I've put jungle cock cheeks in that. The original tie-in in the back in the day, there was no jungle cock on it because I wouldn't have had it as a young lad. But quite an attractive pattern to put a jungle cock cheek on it there as well. Yeah, it is, Graham. It was one I've used now for a lot of years. I've been quite effective. I'm sure it'll be quite tasty in a double as well. And just tie it off. Good finish, cut away. A little bit of varnish on the head of that again. What's the verdict on the grey t-shirt, the grey background, folks? Will I go grey next week or will I go back to blue? I think the grey is actually nearly better, is it? It's not as bright as the blue. I'll let the viewers decide. There we have it, folks. Another lovely little sea trout fly that has a lot of fond memories. I've been fished on my flies or my fly lines over the years. Take a lot of fish. Went back in my days when I was doing a decent bit of sea trout fishing. That's thanks a million, Kevin. Kevin picked up some of them hackles the other day in the shop, and he likes some great stuff. That's good, James. Good man. Thanks, Andrew. But thanks, Peter. We might go back to Grays. We got a couple of more shows left in this season, folks. We will be going down. Right up into the Saturday before Patrick's week, which I think is the 12th. Thanks, Jamie, and thanks, Declan. Yeah, thanks, Robbie, James. But yeah, so we're going to be going right up into Patrick's week. Not like the music, Dave. We are going to go right up. I'll change the music for next year. We might have a little intro for Dave's trivia maybe next year. Give it a little. Thanks, Kevin. I don't think I'll have too many viewers, Kieran Sherlock. There won't be too many viewers. But thanks, Graham. But we got a couple of good shows lined up now for the last couple of weeks. We got 4 or 5 weekends left to go. Looking forward, got some good stuff lined up, so make sure you tune in every Saturday night. I should have mentioned it earlier. Hi to all our YouTubers tomorrow. The stream will be up on YouTube tomorrow. Those will be up on YouTube tomorrow, so don't forget you can be in to win a prize as well. Just comment or share the stream, and I got a lovely tub of flies here for everyone. I'm going to take that sea trout fly off that now and throw it into that tub. I'll do that draw on Wednesday. Well done to Peter Wadding. Huge thanks again to Jason Corcoran from Blackwater for a fabulous prize. Always great when you see other businesses supporting the show. And huge thanks to Michael Curry up there in Ballymena for sending us that lovely video. Fantastic fly tyer there from the north. Tie some great stuff. Make sure you check out his YouTube channel at Michael Curry Fly Fishing. That's it, folks, for another Saturday night. We're another week closer to the season. Unlucky again to Ireland. See how the game goes tomorrow. Should be interesting enough between England and Italy. Other than that, folks, look, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Don't forget, if you need any fly tying gear, fly fishing gear coming into the season, or need any advice or have any questions, do please contact us here at pescarifly.com. We're always, as a phone on, looking to and willing to give any advice or help we can, so don't be stuck. Other than that, folks, thanks a million for all your support as usual. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'm going to say good night to you all now, and I will see you all next Saturday night live at 8:30. Good night, everybody, and take care. Click me buttons here now. Good night.